Welcome to this module on prompt engineering and society, and this first unit on the introduction to this area. My name is Stefan Forsström, and I'm an associate professor at Mid Sweden University in the subject of computer engineering. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about prompt engineering, generative AI, and society, and doing some reflections around that in this module. So, starting off with generative AI as a concept, and I think most of you know about this by now, but basically generative AI sort of means that we have AI programs that can create new things. We're talking about images, video, art, music, and text, and so forth. Basically be able to create new things. And if we look back at the older AI, today we probably would more and more call that, let's say, machine learning. Basically, more older AIs was about learning patterns, predicting the future, extrapolating data, making decisions, and playing games, and so forth. But today we see that these new generative AIs are much more creative in some way. And they can also be able to do, let's call it, intelligent tasks, understanding text, creating text, and so forth. And really is this first step towards this true AI, this AGI, the artificial general intelligence, really is a step towards this new world. Of course, generative AI and prompt engineering has really been the hype lately, and this is these hype curves of emerging tech by Gartner that they put out every year. And here we can see that this generative AI really is on the top here, and as well as prompt engineering. Really is what we are seeing really is hyped up right now. So it's a very sort of good subject right now. So if you ask me, what is the benefits of these tools? Well, I usually say that the benefit is that they sort of level the playing field. They sort of do a leveling of the delivered quality. But also makes the creation process accessible to everyone who wants to create some piece of text or an image or a video or something. I usually take this image as an example. I could never in a million years myself be able to create this image, write it or draw it in Photoshop or create it. But using generative AI, I could quite easily just create it. But basically what it does is that it creates that so that a novice in a certain field can actually receive a quite large quality increase in what he or she can deliver. But for an expert on the other end of the spectrum, maybe the quality increase isn't as significant as you probably have noticed. But of course, these tools might still offer some benefit, like there might be some time benefits or other types of benefits. And here is one simple example of that. Like this is Adam. He is like me. He can't draw or take good photos at all. So maybe he uses one of these free tools to create this image where he just puts in the prompt wolf on a mountain. And perhaps he gets this image and wants to use it for something. And he's quite satisfied with this image. It's a good image of a wolf on a mountain, right? But then on the other end of the spectrum, we maybe have Diana, who has multiple years of experience in art and photography and perhaps doesn't really need AI. She can take this photo herself if she wanted to. But of course, there's a hassle of going out in the mountains and finding a wolf to take this photo. So maybe she still needs this photo for something. But then she perhaps also knows a lot better on how to create this photo using all different methods of prompt engineering to do this. But what is interesting here is that the difference is almost only text, like written text. So the big gain is to know how to express yourself and how to actually use these tools in the right way. Then you can quite easily go from something very simple to something very advanced quite fast, actually. So prompt engineering then basically is the skill and engineering skills to write the best instructions possible to these AI tools. And that is what is sort of called prompt engineering. There is also, of course, more to it. It doesn't only just include the skill and knowledge of the tools. It also includes how to best instruct them in a best possible way and to reach different objectives. But perhaps also how to avoid certain problems that exist with these AI tools or go beyond their limitations to circumvent different obstacles that they have. But it also includes ethical and responsible use of these tools. As you know, they use up a lot of electrical energy and stuff like that. So you can write a bad prompt that takes a long time to evaluate, or you can write a good prompt that goes fast, and that is also sort of responsible use. So all in all, prompt engineering deals with to optimize the performance of these AI models, as well as increase their efficiency in terms of time and resources and accuracy in some sense. So as you know, generative AI tools exist very many different variants of, and the engine within these tools are the other things that we call the AI models. And these AI models can very simplified be said that they're like a collection of algorithms which have been put together to solve these type of problems that sort of actually need human intelligence to be solved. And of course, there is these large language models which can create text like ChatGPT and stuff like that. We have these image models which can create images like DALL-E and Midjourney. And we have these coding models, which is, for example, GitHub Copilot and so on and so forth. We can do like create code and do programming. But of course, there exists a lot more as well. Like nowadays, you have these generative AI tools for music, for video, for doing research. We can do 3D models. There's spoken language things, healthcare, characters, avatars, and much, much more different tools. But one thing what we are seeing now quite lately here is that we're seeing more and more of these models that we call multimodal, that they can combine many of these models to solve many different types of problems. And the big thing about them is that they often use like a large language model as the base, and then use this type of chat UI that ChatGPT really made big, right? To then be able to combine different models to solve different problems that the user wants. And this was made partly to make these tools more accessible and also to overcome some of the earlier problems with these AI tools. Like, for example, when they do this, they build in extra function for different purposes, like the ability to be able to search the internet to find extra information, make them provide actual real references and sources and links on the web to support their statements, and their ability to generate images and chat on how you want to improve the image. And also, of course, do programming, and with programming also come the ability to do mathematics, for example, and stuff like that. So if you never used these tools before, then I suggest you try it out. Basically, two good things, easy things to start with is Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT is probably the two easiest ones to start with. And here you can actually try this multimodality. So here I have a Swedish example where we sort of create a guess a number between 1 and 100 game in Python, and I wanted to also create a logotype for it. And with one simple prompt, I get both a text answer where it explains to me how I should build this in Python. It generates the Python code for me, which I can run, and it also generates some images, or some logotypes for me for this game, basically. So these are very sort of multimodal in that sense. Right. So I'm going to end this first unit with a quick, let's call it study assignment. So if you haven't used these tools before, or if you just use them a little bit, or if you used them a few years ago when you didn't really like the way that they worked, I suggest that you try to use them again and see because there's a lot of things that have happened in latest years. So the best way to learn these tools is to actually try them out and use them. And below here is one exercise that you can do that I do a lot with my students in a course that I have on productivity increasing AI tools. Basically, just start by using one of these image models to create an image for yourself. Maybe that symbolizes your own personal interest. Maybe your specific car brand, maybe you like hiking in the nature, maybe you like soccer or football or video games or whatever. Just make a picture on your interests, and then you sort of try to use these different tools, try to use different ways of writing and trying out and seeing the differences between different models perhaps and different ways of writing. And also sort of try to note if you see any of these weird artifacts, then the number of fingers and other oddities, or maybe they are biased in some way, and maybe how the interpret works. It's probably a good thing to just reflect upon how these tools work. And of course, there's a lot of tools you can test. Stable Diffusion XL is cheap and easy and for free to use on many web pages. You have Leonardo, Copilot, Midjourney, and so forth. Some of them cost money, of course, but try different ones. There exist a lot of free ones or some that have trial periods and stuff like that. Right. So with that, I end this first unit. And next unit is going to be about prompt engineering and how we can improve that.